Hi everyone, welcome to your yin class today. I'm Megan. Happy to be here and happy to get started with a little class for stretching hips and shoulders, and we'll work into neck and low back and things like that. So today I've got my mat. I have a bolster, which if you're at home you can take anything, a pillow, rolled up blanket, anything that you have around. And I'm also going to have a couple of blocks to use. So if you've got blocks at home or something that you want to put your hands on for a prop, you can bring that into your practice as well. So to begin with today, we're going to start in a child's pose. So I'm going to come to my mat with my toes to touch, widening the knees towards the outer edges of the mat, and I'm going to use my prop here, my bolster today, to lay on. So I'm just going to come onto the bolster, stretch the hips back over the heels, let my chest and head melt down to my bolster, softening the forearms down to the ground, and just letting the body start to sink here into this space. Taking a few deep and calming breaths, allowing the body to start to settle, grounding to the earth, blinking the eyes closed. And just noticing what you feel. Of course, if child's pose doesn't feel good in your body, know that you can come to any other relaxing posture, whether it's just a seated pose or even laying on your back in a Shavasana posture. Know that you can mix that up if you'd like to. We'll take just a few more settling and grounding breaths here, breathing in and breathing out. Taking just 2 or 3 more breaths here in this first posture. And as you're ready to, we'll start to lift up to hands and knees. If you've got a pillow or a prop, a bolster that you're using, you can push that off to the side for a minute. Coming up to your hands and knees, we'll move right away into heart-melting pose. So walking your hands forward, lowering down to your elbows, lowering down to your forehead, keeping your hips lifted up over your knees and softening here into this shoulder stretch. Lifting back up, finding your way back up to your hands, lifting your hands back underneath your shoulders. We'll come around to seated. So we'll bring ourselves around to seated on the ground. Maybe a cross-legged seated pose if that feels good in your body. And we'll take a side body stretch. So I'm going to stretch my left fingers out to the side, reach my right arm up, and stretch those fingers overhead towards the left. Breathing here as you open up into your right ribs and your right hip. Gaze is anywhere that feels good in your neck, so maybe down to the ground, the side wall, or up towards the sky. Just 2 or 3 more breaths here. With an inhale, we'll lift that right arm up. And exhale as we tick-tock the other way, left arm lifting to the sky, stretching those left fingers overhead, and again gazing wherever it feels good to you in your body. And just breathing into the sensation that comes up here in this pose as you stretch over to the side, noticing what you feel along the left side of your body, softening your legs. Just a couple more breaths like this. We'll inhale, lift back up to center. Exhale, let those left fingers come down to the ground or to the top of your legs. And we'll move into a little bit of a neck stretch. So we'll take the left ear and drop it down towards the left shoulder. First, relaxing your shoulders back and down. Starting to tip that left ear towards the shoulder. Allowing yourself to stop as soon as you feel sensation along the right side of your neck and into your shoulder. And just breathing. Eyes can be softly closed or just gazing down towards the ground. Noticing one breath at a time, one breath cycle. With an inhale, gently, slowly lift your head back up to center. And with your exhale breath, we'll tilt the other way. Gently letting the right ear shift towards the right shoulder. Softening both of the shoulders down. Spine is nice and long. Chest is staying lifted here as we start to work into the left side of the neck and down into the shoulder. And just breathing. With your next inhale breath, we'll guide the head slowly back up to neutral, back to center. And from here, we'll take our hands and walk them forward. So beginning to tilt a little bit from the pelvis, either keeping your spine nice and straight if you'd like to stop right here, or rounding a bit more into your spine if you want to fold a little bit deeper into this. So just whatever feels good today, listening to your body and noticing where you feel this in your hips or your spine, your back, sending your breath to those spaces. And we'll just take about 3 or 4 more breaths here. Softly walk the hands back in towards your legs, rising back up to seated, and we'll turn to come back onto hands and knees back to tabletop. So we'll lift up to find that tabletop pose. Palms are right underneath the shoulders, knees under the hips, and adding some movement here into your hips and spine. So maybe leaning, or rather reaching the ribs left and right and moving into the body like this, or circling the hips back over your heels, stretching and breathing and just doing whatever it is that feels good to you today, bringing some movement into the hips. After taking a few circles of the hips or shifting side to side, we'll come back into our tabletop or neutral spine, and we'll move into some cat and cow stretches. So inhale breath, lifting the tailbone, lifting your gaze for cow, and exhaling, pressing into your palms, rounding into Spine, nice cat back stretch. Tuck the chin towards the chest. And flowing here a couple more times through cat and cow on your own. Taking this last round of cat and cow, we'll find that tabletop pose again. And from here in our tabletop pose, we're going to take the right foot and step it forward. So guiding or assisting that right foot forward into a lunge, I'm going to take my 2 blocks here, bringing my blocks to either side of my front foot, my right foot. And then I'm going to position the blocks on their edges. If you've got blocks, you can put them however high or low you want to have them, or if you're using anything else for your hands, just bringing that support underneath your hands and allow your body to sink into this pose. So just guiding the hips forward softly, maybe blinking your eyes closed and feeling whatever sensation comes up wherever you notice it here in your physical body. We'll take just 2 or 3 more breaths here in this dragon lunge. And when you feel ready to, we'll lift the hips up and back into half splits pose. So starting to draw your hips towards your left heel and softly rounding over your extended right leg. That knee can be bent a little bit or a lot as you just round your upper body forward. Good. We'll inhale to lift up. We'll take that right leg back underneath the right hip. Maybe add a couple of circles here if that feels good, coming out of that big hip stretch. And we will come around to seated. So we'll bring ourselves around to seated on our mat. If you've got your blocks, you can push them out of the way a little bit here. And we'll windshield wiper our knees. So we'll take the feet to the outer edges of the mat. Bring your hands behind your hips a little bit, leaning back into your arms, into your palms, and we'll let those knees rock side to side. Stretching here, lengthening the spine. Feels like a nice soft massage for the back of the hips, as well as a nice opening up for the front of the chest and the shoulders. And from these windshield wipers, we're going to take the knees, bring them over to the right, as we turn and look around to the right. So I'm looking to the back corner of my mat here. Palms are to the ground, coming into deer pose. So you can stay like this in deer pose. Nice stretch here, twisting for the spine. If you have a proper a pillow or a rolled up blanket that you'd like to lay down on, you can bring that around here with you. So finding a pillow or something to lay on if you'd like to, and coming down onto that support. We'll hold deer pose here just for a few breaths. We'll take this back up onto the hands, pressing your hands down to the ground, lifting the chest, bringing yourself back around to center. If you've got a pillow, you can push that off to the side. We're finding center here and coming down onto our backs into a supine figure 4. So lying down on your mat, we're going to take the right ankle on top of the left knee and then lift the left shin towards the sky. Thread the hands behind your left thigh. Maybe interlace the fingers. Use your right elbow to softly press that right knee away from your chest as you're drawing the left knee towards your chest. Notice the feeling of your back softly resting on the mat, the spine, nice and neutral, relaxed. Softening any tightness from the face or the throat, and just taking a couple of breaths here. Last couple of breaths here. And when you're ready to release the hands from behind your left leg, uncross your right ankle from your left knee, take both of the knees into your chest. Circle them out a little bit here, rock side to side, whatever feels good right now in your hips and your back. And when you are ready to, we'll roll over to one side. I'm going to come to my left side, extending my left arm long. Let my head rest on the arm. Taking just a couple of resting and grounding breaths here before we press back up to seated. And then using the hand that's in front of you, we'll press down into the ground to lift back up to seated. We'll find our way back into tabletop pose, coming to hands and knees. And then from our hands and knees posture, we'll move back into dragon lunge, this time with the left foot forward, guiding that left foot towards the top of your mat. If you've got some props you're using, blocks or anything else, bring those to either side of your foot. Give yourself a little time here to shift forward and back until you find that good point of resistance where you can hold this pose. Breathing softly, lifting the chest. Spine is nice and long rather than rounded and hunched. You want to have a little bit of a lifted chest, lifted gaze. And see if you can soften away any of the holding or gripping in the muscles of the legs or the arms here, and just relax into this big hip opener. We'll hold this posture just for another couple of breaths. And then beginning to move into our half splits pose. Lift your hips back towards your right heel, round over your extended left leg. Just let this feel good. Couple of breaths here. And we'll lift ourselves back up to tabletop pose. Bring the left knee back under the left hip. You can push your blocks off to the side if you've got them. Bring a little bit of movement here into your body. Circle the hips around. Maybe cat and cow or whatever feels good to you. And then we'll bring ourselves around to seated. With the knees bent and the feet to the outer edges of the mat, we'll do some windshield wipering of our knees again. So hands behind the back, behind the hips. Lift and open your chest here, rocking your knees side to side. And the next time the knees drift over to the left, we'll keep them there. Turn the hands towards the back edge of your mat, coming into deer pose. So again, you can hold this posture like this with your hands to the ground. Just nice long spine here as you twist and breathe. If you have a prop, a blanket or a pillow that you're laying down on, you can bring that around here. Bringing your prop around, and if you'd like to, you can lay down onto your pillow or onto your bolster, coming into a deeper posture here into your deer pose. Eyes can blink closed here. Noticing the twist in the spine from the tailbone as it makes its way all the way up the spine to the back of the neck. Head can be turned either direction if you're lying down, whichever way you feel a deeper sensation. And just breathing here. As you're ready to, pressing your hands down to the ground, lifting away from the ground or from your pillow. We'll push that off to the side and we'll come back through center. And we'll come down onto our backs as we move into our reclined figure 4 pose. So laying down on your mat, we'll keep the knees bent and we'll lift the left ankle to the top of the right knee. Lifting the right shin towards the sky, thread the hands behind your right thigh. Left elbow into the left knee here as you come into this nice deep opening stretch for your left hip. And once again, feel your upper body relaxing. Spine, back ribs melting down to the earth. The breath is smooth and steady. We'll hold this reclined figure 4 just for about 2 or 3 more breaths. Releasing your hands from behind your right thigh, we'll release the left ankle from the top of the right knee. Taking your knees into your body and rocking and circling your knees out here. Taking some deep breaths as you do this. And again, in your own time, we'll find our way over to our side, just resting either on your left or your right side. I'm going to use my bottom arm to extend long as a place for my head to come down onto. Blinking the eyes closed and just softening your entire body down to the ground. Relaxing the muscles and the bones. Relax the gaze. Bring ourselves back up to seated, pressing into your palm in front of your body. Press up to seated. We'll come to our mats with our legs long in front of us, extending the legs out nice and long. You can kind of pedal the feet here a little bit, tap your knees, circle out your ankles before we come into our caterpillar pose. So keeping the legs long in front of your body. If you'd like to support your knees with a rolled up blanket or a pillow, feel free to slide that support behind the back of your knees here, and we'll come into our caterpillar pose. So taking a nice long breath in, soften the hands to the tops of your legs. And with your exhale breath, beginning to fold over your legs and stopping right when you start to feel sensation rather than forcing yourself deeply into the posture. Give your body time to relax into it. Softening again when you feel that point of sensation in the body, stopping there. Allow your body to find stillness and then just sink into the breath here. As you hold this pose longer, your body will naturally just start to be pulled a bit more towards the earth as it opens and gravity starts to take over into the pose. Feel your upper body just melting here. And if your mind begins to wander away, bring it back to observing your breathing, just one breath cycle at a time, using that as your focal point. And we'll hold this caterpillar pose just for a few more breaths. When you feel ready to release, we'll come up nice and slowly, slower than you even want to come out of this yin pose. Walk the hands up the length of the legs, rising back up to seated. If you have a pillow under your legs or anything else, we'll slide that out. Tap out your knees here a little bit again, roll through your ankles, wiggle your toes, and we will prepare to roll down onto our backs again. We'll come into a supported bridge pose. So I'm going to be using my bolster here to slide underneath the backs of my hips. So lying down on the mat with the knees bent, lifting your hips. If you have a pillow or a rolled up blanket or a block, you can use a block here. We'll slide that underneath the back of the hips right to the sacrum. Let your hips melt over your prop. Relaxing the hips, relaxing the low back. Let your arms rest wherever feels comfortable. It might be out to the side, or you might take your hands to your belly and just breathe here. Softening your body to the earth. Last 2 or 3 breaths here in our supported bridge. When you're ready to come out of this pose, lift the hips to slide the prop that you're using out from under you, then lower your hips back down. Draw your knees up into your chest, circle out the knees. Take some deep breaths here. And we'll find our way into a supine twist with the knees into the center of the chest. Let your left leg come long to the ground. We'll guide the right knee across the body, letting the right arm reach out to the side. Left hand can be anywhere. If you like to have it on the outside of your right knee, maybe to your chest, or it can also reach out to the side. Feel both of your shoulder blades start to melt back and down. Gaze can be to the sky, or if you want a little deeper twist for your neck, turn your gaze out over your extended right arm. When you feel ready to come back to center, we'll bring the gaze to center, draw one knee at a time up into your body. And a little bit of movement here, whatever feels good as you take a few breaths before we move into the other side of the supine twist. And then allowing your right leg to extend long to the ground. We'll guide the left knee across the body, left arm reaching to the side. Again, both shoulder blades wanting to melt back and down. Gazing either towards the sky or maybe shifting your gaze out over your extended left arm. Breathing into any sensation that you feel along your spine and your low back here. Just a couple more breaths here. Ready to coming back to center. One last time, we'll draw the knees up to the chest. Bring some movement into this if you like to, circling or rocking a little bit. Taking some nice deep inhales, cleansing exhale breaths. Into final Shavasana, draw the knees up into the body, take a nice deep breath in, and with an open mouth, release. Let the arms and legs come long to the ground. If you've got any props that you want to use, maybe sliding a pillow behind the backs of your thighs or behind your knees, letting your legs rest on those props, or if you have a blanket you want to cover yourself up with, feel free to do that as well. Allow the entire body to settle here into the ground. Take a moment to notice the feeling of your body as it relaxes and releases here. Feeling the energy moving throughout your entire physical body. Notice your breath. Feeling that soft release with every exhale breath. Allow your body right now to absorb all of the goodness of your practice. To give yourself a little more time to spend in Shavasana, please feel free to do that. And when you are ready to move back into the rest of your day, just start to draw a deeper breath into your lungs. Draw some movement into your toes and into your fingers, rolling out your wrists. With an inhale, we'll stretch the arms long overhead, getting a nice full body stretch. And with your exhale, make your way over to your side if you need to move some things out of the way, some props or pillows. Rolling yourself to your side and pausing here again on your side body. And in your own time, really gently press yourself back up to seated. We'll come up to a seated posture. Any seated, comfortable seated pose that you like. Grounding down to the earth. Eyes can be blinked closed here. Reaching long through the spine, reaching up through the crown of the head. We'll take our hands together, bringing them to the space of our heart. And lifting thumbs up to our third eye center, seat of enlightenment. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste. Thank you.